Hello everybody and welcome to this edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. Place we talk about anything and everything that is geek, whether it be TV, comics, movies, and video games. And as y'all know, y'all can see I'm a huge Superman fan. If you've seen the rest, and anybody who's watched the show before, they know how big a Superman fan I am. You see in the background. You've been so many shows I've done that's Superman centric, particularly New 52 stuff. But this week is related to Superman. Y'all know, like I said, y'all know how big a Superman fan I am, and as y'all know the old saying, imitation is a serious form of flattery, and as y'all seen just like I have, there is a lot of knockoffs I guess they call them rip-offs, knockoffs of Superman out there. And there's so many. There ain't even enough time in this show to even it'd be a really long show to go over them all. But there are so many out there, and some of them are good, some of them are terrible. And some of them are just plain irreverent knockoff, just making parodies of Superman, just making fun of him, like Super Duper Man and Mad Magazine. Of course, they make fun of everything, but in the comics, there's like just parodies and disrespectful things, and then there's some very reverent versions of knockoffs of Superman out there. And I sat down one day and I come up with a list of what I think are some of my favorite Superman knockoffs have been made. And I just wanted to read, and I'm gonna read off that list today. I've narrowed it down to the top 5 knockoffs of Superman. And before I start, I'm going to say that the images you'll see and the names and everything all belong to their respective companies. So don't get mad at me. I don't own any of this stuff. It's just this is just for strictly educational purposes only. But as I said, I don't own any of it. They all belong to respective companies. So they all belong to their respective companies. So don't get mad at me. So on to number 5. Our first one, coming in at number 5, is from Dark Horse's comic In League. If you can see him there, Astonish Man. See how much he looks exactly like Superman, except for a few of the colors. I mean, he's got like a yellow. His suit has gray in it instead of blue, but he looks exactly like Superman. And I'll read you off a little bit of his bio here. Get it up here. That's it. I mean, they duplicate all these robots. They duplicate everything from his appearance right down to his origin stories and his powers. And Astonish Man is no different, except for maybe one little thing. He's not an alien. He's a normal human being named Brian Terrence. It says here in his bio, known as the world's greatest hero, he was more than 100 years old before he died. So he got killed off in that comics. If you read In League, he was killed off. Of course, I haven't. I only know a little bit, and I'll skip a little bit here. So he possessed super strength, super hearing, flight, and invulnerability. They said he drew the strength, and here's another little tweak they did. He didn't draw powers from the sun like Superman did. Astonish Man drew energy from the Earth's core. So instead of from the sun up above, he drew it from the Earth underneath it. He drew it from Earth's core. And they said when his skin was broken, he leaked the very energy granted him powers. Upon his death, the energy vacated his body with a blast of nuclear proportions. So he was like a nuclear bomb going off. But bottom line, he was another. I mean, even look at the name, Astonish Man. Does that sound like? Doesn't that sound an awful lot like Superman? I mean, and even his name sounds like him. Every bit of it is like him. except for another thing I read. It wasn't in this profile I read right then. He was very arrogant. I think he said. Let me see. It said also in his it said he died from grievous injuries. Pardon me. Injuries sustained at the hands and hammer of Thor. So in this book, Thor is a part of their universe too. But he was killed. He died as a result. Basically, he died. He was destroyed. But as one thing they didn't read, he's very arrogant and cocky, and that's something that was another difference from Superman, other than power source and that he ain't an alien, and the fact he's their greatest hero, but he's very arrogant from what I read. But I don't know much more than that. But from what I read you right there, that all you need to know is he's another Superman ripoff. He's just a riff on Superman. Right down from the name to his look to his powers. He's Superman in the Dark Horse universe. But it's still he's like I said, he's Superman, and to me, I mean, I said, and I don't like his attitude so much, but I mean, to me, he's right up there with in the movie Megamind with Metro Man. He's very arrogant, very arrogant. I mean, Metro Man has a little bit more honorable qualities about him until he does what he does in the movie, but there ain't no honorable qualities in Astonish Man. I just like that I just like him. I think he's cool. I don't like his attitude. And in fact, he is arrogant and everything, but I just think it's cool. He's cool for the Dark Horse universe. It's cool for the Dark Horse universe because they don't have a Superman in that universe, and still don't. And I was going to say it later on in that story, they wind up cloning somebody. The villain of the story wound up cloning an army of him. So you're pretty much not going to win out, and that's why he's number 5 on my list. He just is. I just like it that he just looks. I mean, there's a lot of them out there that ain't good. I just thought he fit on this list, and then that's why he came in at number 5. Number 4 on my list is from Marvel Comics. Give me just 1 second. I'll pull it up here. This is from Marvel Universe. He is Hyperion. And I know a lot of y'all Marvel fans out there know there are 2 Hyperions. Yes, there is. And I'll get to that in a second. This is the Hyperion I'm focusing on right now. The one that looks exactly like Superman. Colors, everything. Looks like Superman. And I said that and yes, there are 2 Hyperions. But they're not the same guy. I mean, at least I don't think they're the same guy. I know there's one that's has blonde hair, wears a red and yellow suit. Has blonde hair, has a red and yellow suit. But beyond that, I don't know much about him. But I'm just focusing on the one that is the most like Superman. And I'll read you his profile right quick. Let me see here. Let me pull it up here. His his Earth name, his human name that they give him is Mark Milton. Sound like Clark Kent? He's a U.S. citizen. He was found by he's an alien, come from another planet. They don't know it. It says here, place of birth unrevealed, presumed extrasolar planet. So he's an alien from another planet. Falls to Earth. Is found by a farmer and his wife, but is quickly swept up by the U.S. government and taken off to a facility where he's raised and trained to be a soldier. And he essentially becomes a government hero. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Well, it says here, he said he was sent. Okay, let me redo that here. The Hyperion was sent to Earth as a baby and raised by agents of the U.S. government in a secret secret government compound by a pseudo family under the auspices of a normal childhood with the name Mark Milton. And so he did have something similar to Superman's childhood. It's just that he was more under the abilities of the he's just more under the government control instead of just being like raised by a normal family and an absolute normal family. He was raised by the U.S. government. And as for his powers here, he has capable of unassisted flight and has yet to be injured by any source, including high explosives, conventional weapons, and encounters with other superhumans. Full extent of his strength is yet to be determined. He is able to fly and run at speeds speeds well exceeding the sound barrier. The hearing is highly acute, and he possesses flash vision, in which he emits as yet unknown radiation, which he can see through objects and generate intense heat capable of vaporizing organic matter. What does that sound like to you? Every bit Superman's powers. Every bit. Every bit of his powers. So I thought he was an interesting entry on the list, and that one way he deviates from Superman, his attitude. He's a hero, sure, but he don't particularly act like one personally. He just follows his orders. He's not particularly. He's a government protector under the government, but he's not particularly a superhero, a people's superhero, I guess you could say. He's not like a people's, I'm going to say, people's champion or people's protector like Superman. He's more of a stone cold soldier. And if anybody's out there read Supreme Power and Supreme Squadron, Supreme Squadron, and everything about Hyperion, knows he's not friendly. He's not that friendly. And from what I read, he's about like Nighthawk, the Batman of the group, Nighthawk, I think is what his name is. He's not exactly friendly either. Of course, a lot of folks in that book ain't exactly friendly anyway, so what do you expect? It was a darker corner of the Marvel multiverse, in which this guy resides, so what do you expect? But I just thought he was a real good, true to form Superman, other than his attitude, and that's why he made it number 4 on my list. And number 3 on my list is from the Image universe. In the Image universe, he is named Omni-Man. You see right there what his name is. You see right there what he looks like. My bad. You see he looks like Superman. He's a little older and he's got a mustache. And he is from, like I said, he's from the Image universe, and he of course went on to have a son, which is, I think you see, he wound up being called Invincible, and he's from the book Invincible, and it was first seen in issue number 1 of that same book. And like I said, he's the father of the main title character, Invincible, and he's from an alien from another planet. He's from one called from the Vulturemite homeworld. He's from Vulturemite homeworld, and his powers include flight, superhuman strength, speed, senses, and endurance, and vulnerability, and greatly prolonged lifespan. Who does that sound like? It's Superman, essentially. And it says here, he's a fictional character, and I'm reading them off Wikipedia. Omni-Man is a fictional character from the Image Comics universe. Omni-Man is the father of Invincible and a member of the Vulturemite race. Humanoid species of extraterrestrial origin possess super strength, speed, virtual immortality, and flight, as is customary for Vulturemite males in sport. Vulture male, Omni-Man sports a large mustache. So mustache is part of his race. And let's see here. I'm just skimming it here. And see, his real name is Nolan Grayson. So his name differs from Superman a bit. And I think it comes along. It says later. Here you go. It's later revealed that now I might be spoil. It might be a spoiler here. It was later revealed that unlike Superman, he was sent to Earth as a conqueror for the Vulture Empire. A revelation that was a stark contrast to his previous claims that his presence was to advance human technology and protect Earth from extraterrestrial dangers. In confrontation shortly thereafter, Omni-Man beat Mark which is his son, Mark Grayson, Invincible, within an inch of his life, and then fled the planet. So that shows you another way he differs from Superman. His race already has those kind of powers anyway. He didn't get them from anywhere else. He was born with them. He is given to him by the sun or his core or some kind of rock. He's born with them. That's another way he differs from Superman. That's how he differs from Superman. You can't exactly make him exactly like Superman. Because you're right there. You can't exactly make him exactly like Superman, but you can come pretty close. The suit, the appearance, the powers, the fact that he's an alien from another planet. But you gotta make something different about him, or else he would be a literal carbon copy of Superman. Of course, like he ain't already, by his appearance and his powers. But still, that shows you how he differs from. He was sent to Earth. He was sent to Earth as, and not as Earth's protector, but as an advanced man to conquer the planet. And I think later on that he does come to the planet. I mean, it sounds really interesting. I've been meaning to read it I've been love to read that story myself, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet, and it sounds pretty good. Excuse me. But so to me, it just makes a very interesting alternate version of Superman. And if they had a version like that in the multiverse, that'd be great. But if right now that won't do. And as you might say, that's Image Comics Superman. I thought that was really good, and that's why I added it to number 3 on my list, because I thought it was really awesome. I think he's a really good, really cool character. And as for number 2 on my list, he is from a branch of DC Comics. This one's from a branch of DC Comics. Wildstorm. I don't know if Wildstorm was a publication unto itself, and then DC bought it. I think that's how it worked. And DC bought it, but he's originally part of just Wildstorm, and then DC Wildstorm, and then was folded into the DC universe as a Earth in the multiverse, in the 52 Earth multiverse, before the new 52 hit, and being Earth 50. Then became Earth 50. And he's a member of the Wildcats, named he goes by the name of Mr. Majestic. There he is. And as I said, he comes from. And I said he is a part of the. It might say he was the Wildstorm Superman, comic version of Superman. Even when DC bought them, because like I said, DC bought them. They were their own universe. They were their own comics line, actually. And then they started bleeding them over into DC and everything. And then after Infinite Crisis and all that stuff happened in 52, it became an Earth in the 52 Earths. It was designated as Earth 50, the Wildstorm universe. And that universe of Superman was Mr. Majestic. And I pull up his. And to me, I liked it right off the bat that there was another version running around. Hold on a second. Everybody messed that up. And I like the fact that he appeared out of nowhere in the story. It was after Superman number 200 before they relaunched. They went back to the original number on that book. After that book, Superman disappeared, and history went to changing where it didn't have its like time had been altered and all the Brainiac tech was getting sucked out of Metropolis. Of course, it looked like Metropolis was being destroyed. And out of the bleed, at the end of the next issue of Action Comics comes Mr. Majestic. And, of course, a lot of folks didn't like him around and everything, but he essentially kept the peace while Superman was gone. And eventually he had his own little 4-part thing. Excuse me again. He essentially just, I said he kept the peace and everything while Superman was away. After Superman come back, he was still stuck there. And eventually they went about, I guess they went about the whole thing and finally sent him back to his own universe. And I guess that's how it is. But I said I actually like that character because I said he isn't like your typical Superman. I mean, here's his profile. His real name is Lord Majestros of Kara, and he's an alien from another planet. But the thing is, he wasn't sent to Earth as a baby. He came to Earth as a warrior. I guess it's because his planet was destroyed. I think it was destroyed by Daemonites, which are demons, essentially. I guess they're people called Carabin. He's essentially an alien from another planet. He has a secret fortress hidden within Mount Rushmore. And of course, who's that sound like? Sound like Superman. And it's his powers. He can fly. He has superhuman strength. He's virtually invulnerable. His senses are far more acute than humans. He possesses a highly analytical mind. Like all Carabin, he is virtually immortal. Who does that sound like? Superman, of course. But the only difference is instead of being a instead of being just a straight out superhero, he was a warrior. He didn't do the whole. He didn't. I mean, while he was in Metropolis, he may have done that, but he didn't do the whole rescue cats from trees and stop buildings and disasters kind of thing. He probably did. I don't know much about him in the Wildstorm universe, but all I know is what I've read when he's in DC. And essentially, like I said, he's a warrior that fights the Daemonite monsters, and as evil monsters, he just fights to protect Earth from them. Excuse me. And he just fights to protect the Earth from these inhuman creatures. And I just love that. I just love it that there is a Superman warrior version on another Earth and another universe. I just think that's so cool. And of course he has all of his power. I mean, it's just awesome. And the fact that they lumped him in, it actually went from being like a Superman ripoff in another universe to being a Superman in an alternate universe. I just thought that was so cool. They lumped him into the multiverse like that. I just thought that was so awesome. And that's why he made it to number 2 on my list, because he's just a cool character. He's a great character. Matter of fact, I actually read somewhere recently in a Smallville story that they stumbled over into an alternate universe where there were monitors running around everywhere, like there were people destroyed, and the place was in shambles. And you look up on the thing, and there's like a cross or something, like somebody nailed up on a piece of on a statue or something. They've been strapped to a statue or nailed up on something. And they said he looks a lot like Majestic. He looks a lot like Mr. Majestic. So it looks like that Smallville has branched into its own universe and is now including him. And I just think that's so cool that they think that much of that character that they've got him now. And I just think that's so. They got him in the Smallville universe now. And I just think that's so awesome. I just hope he ain't dead, because that's what it sounded like. They made it look like he was is dead. I just hope he ain't. I just think that's cool they include him in Smallville now. And that's why he falls in number 2 on my list. And finally, number 1 on my list of Superman, they say knockoffs or homage, I guess they're Superman ripoffs, is once again back to Marvel Comics, Gladiator. And this has always been my favorite other version of Superman. I mean, this has been my favorite out of DC version of Superman ripoff, whatever you want to say. I've always liked it ever since I first saw it. Ever since I first saw him on the X-Men animated series back in the 90s, when I first saw him flying, I was like, that's Superman. So that's Superman with blue skin and a mohawk. I said, that's Superman, plain and simple, and he is. I mean, every bit of him is that he's Superman. Even, all of his powers and everything, he is Superman. And I just was so, even as a kid, I was geeking out. I was like, this is Superman. This is Superman on X-Men. I just thought it was so cool. But, and every bit of him, he is Superman. In every sense of the word, he is Superman. And I'll bring up his profile. He is from Marvel Universe, the main Marvel Universe. His real name, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, the creator, and when I read the correct ones who created him, first created him, they said that the group, he and the group that he's a part of, is an homage to the Legion of Superheroes. They based it on them. Even his name is Clark, and as they said, his name is a combination of Clark Kent and Kal-El, his Earth and Kryptonian names. And of course, I don't even need to read a list of powers. He has every. He is, of course. Let's see if they have his actual race on here. He is from an unrevealed planet in the Shi'ar galaxy. He's part of the Shi'ar Empire, and he's actually the head of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. Of course, I think now he may be Emperor. I think he's Shi'ar Emperor now. What I read in one book, but he's got all of his powers. He got all of his powers, and even his appearance to an extent. But he's a blue-skinned alien with a mohawk, a gladiator, Roman gladiator type mohawk, like you see on their helmets. But other than that, he's Superman, straight out Superman. All the powers, all the abilities of Superman. And even one of his weaknesses, a blue rock. They said there's some kind of mineral that will sap his strength. Just like kryptonite will Superman. But that ain't his only weakness. His other weakness is his lack of will. Like if his confidence level goes low, so will his powers. But if his confidence level is high, his powers boost. And I know that sounds weird, but that's in terms of how powerful he is. I know that sounds weird, but still, he's still Superman, and he even acts like Superman. He's honorable, has honor and duty, just like Superman. He is Superman of the Marvel Universe, more so than Hyperion. And that's why he's my number one favorite Superman ripoff. To me, he's right up there with Superman as one of my favorite heroes. Matter of fact, he's probably my only favorite Marvel character now, other than probably Venom. He's probably my only favorite character in the entire Marvel universe now is Gladiator, and he's just awesome, and that's why I think that's why he's my number one favorite Superman ripoff. And I know there's so many other ones out there, but I might save them for another day. I might save them for that. It might be a part 2 to this show. It might be a part 2 to this show. But I know I didn't get time. Y'all probably have some other favorite Superman ripoffs out there that y'all think are even cooler than this. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to them, but I'm thinking right now there's going to be a part 2 to this show, and I'm going to probably definitely hunt down some more of the Superman ripoffs and make another list. Present you another list of Superman ripoffs that I think are awesome. But what do y'all think? Y'all agree with the list? Y'all think there should have been one more on top of the other? Let me know. as always, drop me a comment in the comment box. I would love to hear from y'all. I'd love to hear what y'all think on this subject. And I guess that's all for this edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. As always, y'all have any comments whatsoever about the show, drop me a comment in the comment box. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends. Y'all have any fresh ideas about the show? Y'all have any fresh ideas, things you want to hear me talk about on the show? Drop me in the comment box. I'm always looking for new ideas and topics and subjects to talk about on the show. I'm always open to fresh new ideas. I would love to hear y'all. Just drop your ideas in the comment box. I said I would love to hear from y'all. I'd love to hear your ideas, and you never know when it may be made into an episode of Mr. J's Geek Corner. So drop me your ideas. I would love to hear from y'all. And I'll see y'all next time.